just give people just a few more moments to see if anybody else is going to show up before we start. Yeah, I see people are still kind of logging in, so let's give people an extra moment just to kind of get logged into the system. Sometimes it can take a little bit of time to get WebEx up and loaded. Okay, I think we seem to be pretty stable with that number now. So I will get started. The hearing will begin in a few minutes. After some introductory remarks, we will go around the virtual room for introductions. Then participants will have the opportunity to offer spoken comments. We will ask attendees to let us know if they wish to offer comments when they introduce themselves, and the meeting host will ensure that you are unmuted. You will also be able to raise your hand. We will also offer the opportunity for attendees to ask clarifying and procedural questions after taking testimony. Hello, my name is James Kogel from the Oregon Department of Energy. I will be the hearing officer for today's proceedings. We want to thank you all for participating today. Materials for today's hearing, including draft rules, are located on the Oregon Department of Energy's website, oregon.gov/energy. Now, just a few words about using WebEx for those who are new to the platform. There's a raise your hand function that you can access that if you want to kind of make yourself known to the meeting host to ask a question. There's an unmute and mute button using the microphone button, as well as there's a chat function that you can type in questions if you have them, and so that's another option. Does anyone have any questions about using WebEx before we begin? You can either type them in the chat or raise your hand. Don't see anybody. But if you do, feel free to type in the chat as we go along. So this hearing is being recorded to maintain a permanent record. Today is January 5th, 2022. The time is approximately 4:05 p.m. The public hearing is being held online and all attendees are participating remotely. This is the time and date set for a public rulemaking hearing. The purpose is to take public comments on proposed permanent rules which would establish a program incentivizing energy efficient rebuilding of eligible structures destroyed during the 2020 Labor Day wildfires. The filing caption for this rulemaking is establishing wildfire recovery, energy efficiency incentive program, and providing procedures for program administration. The rules were drafted to meet the program's objectives, and the proposed rule numbers are 330-260-0010 to 330-260-0110. I'm going to go through a brief summary of the proposed rules. Oregon House Bill 5006 from the 2021 legislative session established a program for incentivizing energy efficient rebuilding following the 2020 Labor Day wildfires. These rules provide the procedures necessary to implement the program. The rules outline requirements applicants and structures must meet in order to be eligible for the incentive program, including that the owner must be altering, restoring, or replacing a structure in Oregon determined as having been damaged or destroyed by wildfire between August 1st and September 30th, 2020. Other requirements include the need for an approved building permit and requirements set out in House Bill 2289, Section 23. Incentives are outlined for detached 1 and 2 family dwellings and townhouses at 2 different levels at and or above current building code. Additional incentives are available for applicants who meet low income requirements. This slide shows the totals that are available for the different levels. An incentive for commercial buildings, public buildings, and multifamily housing structures or facilities is outlined in the rules. An additional incentive is available for multifamily housing, providing housing to low income households. Also established is an incentive to owners of manufactured homes that were destroyed or damaged in the 2020 wildfires to incentivize the purchase of a new energy efficient manufactured home or the installation of a heat pump system. How applicants can qualify for the different incentives and tiers are detailed in the rules. A homeowner can demonstrate they qualify for a higher incentive as a low-income homeowner if they're eligible or have been eligible within a set time for the following Oregon Housing Community Services Department programs: the Low-Income Home Energy Assistance Program, Oregon Energy Assistance Program, or the Low-Income Weatherization Assistance Program, or the following Oregon DHS or OHA programs: SNAP, Oregon Health Plan, and the Children's Health Insurance Program. The rules set out requirements for HVAC contractor participation, how all the incentives will be applied for, the incentive reservation process, and the completion and verification steps required. The final part of the rules focuses on the compliance responsibilities of the applicant and the department's procedures regarding compliance with the rules. The Oregon Department of Energy appreciates the information and feedback that stakeholders have provided through the rulemaking process. Notice for today's hearing was filed with the Oregon Secretary of State on November 24th, 2021, and published in the December 2021 Oregon Bulletin. This hearing will be conducted according to the Oregon Administrative Procedures Act, ORS Chapter 183, and the Attorney General's Model Rules. In addition to the opportunity to present oral comments at this hearing, anyone may submit written comments in the rulemaking comment portal on the Oregon Department of Energy website or by email at wildfire.recovery@energy.oregon.gov. or by mail until 5 p.m. January 7th, 2022, which is the close of the public comment period for everyone. Comments received after this date will not be reviewed or considered by the department unless the department decides to extend the public comment period for everyone. After the close of the comment period, the Oregon Department of Energy will review issues raised during the public comment period and prepare a hearing officer's report. The Oregon Department of Energy will make the ultimate decision regarding these rules. This slide lists some of the areas the Oregon Department of Energy are seeking feedback on. However, all comments on the draft rules are welcome and will be considered. So I'm going to ask at this time, all participants, please state their name, an affiliated organization for the record. Due to the number of people we have in attendance, if you're able to type your name, any affiliated organization you have, and whether you wish to provide testimony today in the chat function, that'd be great. And I'll go around and start with introductions of Oregon Department of Energy staff over the WebEx. And then once we have a list of everybody that wants to provide testimony in the chat, I'll call people up to give that testimony. Thank you. So I will begin. My name is James Kogel from the Oregon Department of Energy. I'm just going to go down the panelist list. So Linda, would you mind going next, please?
Hi, I'm Linda Ross. I'm the Policy and Innovation Planning Division Assistant, and I'm hosting you today.
Christy?
Hello, I'm Christy Splitt. I'm the Government Relations Coordinator, and I'm co-hosting today. I will be monitoring the chat, looking for raised hands, helping with any, helping James to make sure everybody gets heard.
Thanks, Christy. Alan?
Hi, Alan Zelenka. I'm Assistant Director for Planning and Innovation. Here to hear what people have to say.
Andy?
Hi, Andy Cameron. I'm the Section Manager for Energy Efficiency and Conservation here at the Oregon Department of Energy.
Janine?
Hi, I'm Janine Benner, the Director of the Oregon Department of Energy. I'm here to observe and hear the feedback, and really excited that the department is involved in this issue. So thanks for being here.
Michael?
Hello, my name is Michael Friels. I work for the Oregon Department of Energy as a policy analyst, and certainly excited to hear everybody's interest in this program and your views and public comments. And thank you for being here.
Pandyan?
Hi, I'm Pandyan Krishnaswamy. I'm Energy Incentives Manager. I am interested in hearing everybody's views today. Thank you.
And Wendy? Not sure if Wendy has stepped away, but we have Wendy Simons, another energy policy analyst on the, might be popping back in. Okay, I'll now move on to public testimony section of the hearing. Before beginning your testimony, when you come off mute, please state your name and affiliation with an organization for the record. If you have any written statements, please email them into the organization so that it may be part of the record. Before we begin with the public testimony, anybody have any questions or comments? Any questions about the providing testimony today? I will proceed going down the list in the chat. If you didn't say whether or not you were going to provide testimony, I'll call upon you and you can let me know at that point. Apologies if I pronounce anybody's names incorrectly. So we'll start with John Schmiedel from Santiam Hospital.
John Schmiegel, you're available. You've been unmuted.
Did you want to provide testimony, John? You just didn't say when you introduced yourself.
Okay, I will move on to the next person. John, if you okay, got your chat comment now, thanks. If you want to submit any written comments, you're welcome to do so as well. So we'll move on to the next person wishing to provide testimony. It looks like we go down to Alessandra De La Torre from Real Climate.
Nala, you're off mute whenever you're ready.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay, great. I was having a little issue with the unmuting. But thank you for having this. I had some comments and then also some questions. So I'm Alessandra De La Torre. I work with Road Climate down here in Southern Oregon. And I was, for the equity and access, one of the things I wanted to comment on was if it was possible for prioritizing applications from low-income owners instead of having a just first come, first served basis. If there's a way to have a process so that low-income owners could have priority in their applications for the funds that are available. I also was thinking for accessibility, if the Department of Energy could provide examples of documents needed for legibility, simple like images that just show kind of how the documents could look. And that way people have a reference for the documents that are going to be needed, whether that's through like on the website, having those examples up just so that people could be more assured of what documents they'll be needing and how they could look. And I'm also for the language in the draft rulemaking, if y'all could add retroactive language in that. I did see it in the manufactured home section that it's explicit that it is retroactive, but wherever else it applies, if it could be explicit that it is a retroactive incentive. And other than that, I did have a question. I know that it says that local government is the entity that is going to be determining the damaged or destroyed structures, but wondering if there's other ways to also determine the structures, such as like the FEMA databases. Local government isn't always accessible to folks, and sometimes it could be hard communicating with local government. And if there is an issue with local government identifying people's location as a fire impacted home, wondering if there's other entities that people could reach out to, or if there's other databases that could be used that could qualify them for determining their location as a fire impacted zone. So that was one of the questions I had specifically for why it is only local government identified in that role, and if there is space to have that open up more. I also am wondering for the household definition, it might not completely apply, but There has been issues where there's landlords who have refused to give copy of their lease agreements to fire survivors, or there is verbal agreements made where there is not a physical copy of the lease agreement. Wondering how that could be mitigated, especially with some households being split up after the fires, and they might share just one address for the fire, their fire address before, and now there might be split up. So another question would also be for those impacted households that are now split up, can more than one household use the same address if now they live separately? And then the landlord issue if people don't have a lease agreement. So that's the questions I have right now. And if anything else comes up, I'll make sure to add that to the chat. Thank you.
Thank you. That's great comments and questions. The questions we'll definitely need to go away and think about. I'm going to move on to the next person to provide testimony. That would be Maya Jared from Row Climate.
Jared from Rogue Climate down in Jackson County, Oregon, in the Alameda and Obuchain fires. I just have a couple things to add to my colleagues' comments. I want to talk about one access barrier, and my comment is around the timelines, the deadlines for people to have submitted their permits and then to have completed their projects. I think that it would be beneficial to extend those deadlines by 6 months to a year. Right now, many people who are planning on rebuilding in Jackson County, especially manufactured homes, are waiting on a private developer or a plot developer to finish cleaning up and re-permitting and then improving those lots again so that people can move back. So it's just not an option for them to start their rebuilding process yet. And they're dependent on timelines of the landowner. I think that would improve the uptake of this program, which I'm really excited about. Another access point and question I have is that I know some of the power infrastructure down in our area is that the actual grid or the inverters at the pole need some upgrades when large amounts of people in one lot or one house or on one street convert appliances from gas to electric. And that there may be costs that a consumer or one household would be asked to pay if they were to upgrade all of their appliances to electric for a single lot. That could be around $15,000, for example. If previously the appliances on that lot included a mix of gas and electric. And so I'm wondering if there could be some sort of contingency plan or conversation with the utility companies for distributing that cost or providing a subsidy for if that power upgrade were needed at the pole in order to make it possible for someone to adopt some of these appliance upgrades that we're talking about. It's sort of a gamble as to which lots or which houses will need that upgrade, and a property owner wouldn't necessarily know that that's coming up until they put in their permits for which appliances they're planning to have on their lot. those are my two main comments on this plan. And the last thing is one additional way to qualify people to know whether they are fire affected or potentially to know their income levels is I know that a number of the fire affected communities are already vetting those through the disaster case management program that Oregon DHS is heavily involved with in a lot of communities. I know that the disaster case managers are not able to work with every fire survivor at the moment, that there's wait lists. And so I appreciate that there's other ways for people to be vetted as a fire survivor. But that might be one possible venue in addition to being vetted through the local government systems as to whether an address is fire affected. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for that.
James, I think a lot of the questions we're getting, we have to take back and we can circle back with people with some of the answers. But there was one question that was in there that I have a pretty clear answer on. And I just wanted to share it. And it has to do with the timelines by which the money has to be spent. The legislature, when they passed the bill and gave us the authority to spend money and gave us the money, they're the ones that set the timeline. And we actually subsequently realized that the timeline was far too short based on just general information about our rebuilding process, but also past rebuilding processes in other places. And so we flagged that for the legislature, and actually at committee meetings, I think in November, Chair Clem, who was at the time the chair of the House Wildfire Recovery Committee, put it on the record that the legislature supported and recommended extending the program out so that we would have more time to spend the money and more time for people to take advantage of the program based on rebuilding rates. So I just wanted to put that out there and make sure you know we have it on our radar. Legislators have it on their radar. It does require some legislative action, and that legislative action would happen in the 2023 legislative session.
Thanks, Christy. Okay, I'm going through the rest of the chat, and it doesn't look like anybody else was looking to provide testimony today. We'll take any of the comments we see there in the chat as well back. If I've missed anybody wishing to provide testimony, please let me know if anybody's jumped on as we've gone along. Please either type in the chat or raise your hands. Let's give a moment just to double check we haven't missed anybody.
While we're waiting to see if any hands go up or if anybody lets us know in the chat that they have something they wanted to share. The question in here from John had to do with Breitenbush. And just to be clear, this program isn't limited to residential structures or homeowners. It includes commercial structures. So however Breitenbush qualifies in there, I don't think it's an issue. I think that we'll have room for Breitenbush and similar entities that may have been affected. I can think of a couple of other places that are kind of in between the two. And I don't think that there's a reason to be concerned, but we'll make sure James reviews the rules to make sure that that's the case.
Thanks for picking on that, Christy.
Question, John.
Okay, well, I don't see anybody raising their hand or typing anything, so I'm just double checking that anybody's missed anybody. Okay, so
we did get another question just now from Lorraine. Again, I think some of these are questions we can easily answer. Some are ones that are not as easy. James, I'll let you decide on this one. She's wondering, she's had people explain that they're interested in purchasing a property as a group and wondering how this would be allowed or if it would be problematic at all. And if we don't know the answer, then we can just follow up with her when she logged in. I'm sure she had to give her email.
I'll definitely take that away to consider, unless Michael, you had anything you wanted to say on that right now.
Yeah, I guess I would be happy to address that. So we are looking at the incentives per property. And so if somebody purchased a property and built a structure on it, we would direct that to the owner of the property. Whether if that was a group, or if they filed as a group of people or as an individual, we would direct that incentive to those people. But the incentives are per property, so it wouldn't necessarily be multiple incentives to a variety of different owners. We wouldn't necessarily split that up, but just have one, either the business entity or one property owner that's on the title. We would direct the incentive to. Does that answer your question?
Lauren, it took me a second to get you unmuted. I have you unmuted, and I just Michael asked you a question, just if that answered your question.
Yes. So I want to explain really quick. It did not answer my question because the situation that I'm seeing over and over again is that people are unable to financially bear the full burden of purchasing the property and building on it. So in some cases, they may be able to partner with the property owner and build on that, or bring a living situation onto that. But basically, because the costs have gone so high, everyone is talking about, okay, how can we take 2 or 3 or 4 families and buy a property together and build on it together? And then of course the next natural question is, in what way can we apply the grants that are coming available to this type of situation? So if they're able to buy land, they want to build on it, most likely multiple very small individual homes. Would they be able to use grant funds to do something like that?
That's a really interesting question. We hadn't considered that. I think we'd have to speak with the local jurisdictions about how they are going to treat kind of those rebuilding situations and how people pull permits, if that they consider that new construction or if they would consider that rebuilding. On a lot of those individual and localized challenges, we do want to kind of defer to the local jurisdictions because they have more on the ground support and can see the challenges and what they need within their community. And so I think we'll have to follow up with you on that and get a better definition of what that is. But we certainly recognize, and we've heard, that we need to be flexible in what we're offering, and that there are a variety of challenges as people rebuild. So thank you for bringing that.
So Michael, I just want to throw one more thing out there.
Okay.
ADUs are being allowed in this area in several different jurisdictions. And so it'd be really helpful to be able to tell people that, yes, if you can come to an agreement with a property owner to build an ADU on their property, then yes, you can use this grant and this grant to do so. That would be really helpful to a lot of people, particularly, like in some cases it's relatives. So we're going back to that grandmother cottage model, where it's like my aunt is living in my backyard, or, just whatever it happens to be, my niece or whoever it happens to be. But for that to be allowed, but also supported, would be really great.
Yeah, thank you for bringing that to us. We'll have to talk about that more and figure out how local jurisdictions are going to treat the ADUs as well as the shared properties. But thank you for bringing that. I mean, that's something we haven't really considered up to this point.
Yes, and thank you for your leadership that you've shown in the survivor community too. Appreciate you speaking up. We also got another question from Alessandra that I'm not sure we could answer yet, having to do with requiring that qualified contractors provide services in multiple languages. So we'll take that back and circle back with you, Alessandra.
Yeah. Right.
Anything else? I don't see any hands up. I don't see anybody else with anything new in the chat, although history has shown us we always stick around because things continue to come up. But for those that are still on and are gonna like start coming off as we start. We'll keep the public hearing open because there's a public hearing and we have to keep it open so that if people come late and still want to provide testimony, we can take it. So we'll be hanging out here. But for folks as they start to drop off, just wanted to say thank you for coming, but also we want to make sure that wildfire survivors and those who work with them and support those communities know about this program and know how to apply. We have your email address now. We'll be, if we didn't already, and we'll be in touch when we do launch the program. And we really hope that you'll help us spread the word to the people that you know, the people in your communities, the people you work with, so that we make sure we can provide this benefit to as many families of all types that and businesses and individuals, whoever that can use the program. So thank you for not just being here, but for helping us down the road, make sure folks know about what's going on. So thank you.
Thanks for that, Christy. Yes, so the public hearing will remain open until 5. So if anybody is only able to attend for the last half of this, we'll still be here to take people's testimony. However, I want to thank everybody who has attended and given testimony or just attended to observe for coming along. As a reminder, written testimony will be accepted until 5 p.m. January 7th, 2022, and no other comments or exhibits will be accepted after this date, unless the department decides to extend the comment period for everyone. After the close of the comment period, the department will review all comments and summarize all comments in a hearing officer's report. The Oregon Department of Energy will make the ultimate decision regarding the rules. The department plans to file the permanent rules by January 31st, 2022. That's our target, with an effective date of February 1st, 2022. Thank you all for attending. You're welcome to stay on in case people join. And if you just joined, if anybody has just joined, feel free to drop your name in the chat.
Hi, did you see this new question we have from Cassandra? I'm not sure that it's that I got seen. I had a 3-year-old get or 4-year-old get home and upset. Can all of the programs apply to FEMA trailers?
I think that would be Michael. You able to touch on that?
Yeah, so the intention is that these aren't for FEMA trailers, because those are offered at a reduced cost and don't necessarily have some of the efficiency benefits of other options. We weren't planning on incentivizing the FEMA trailers, but please do leave us some comments if you feel like that creates a barrier for people, and if there's a great opportunity or a need for more support within that community. We'd appreciate any testimony around it.
And Todd, we see that you submitted some comments. We'll definitely see them. We review all the comments that we receive. So thank you. Cassandra or Cassandra, either way, I see your follow-up. Thanks. We'll take it into advisement that park owners are asking about being able to add fire hardening actions. I'm not sure if, yeah, Andy Bolton from DCBS is on the line. Hopefully Andy's hearing that. The fire hardening program is being run through DCBS. So Andy, soak that up like a sponge. And if you want to comment in the chat on that, go ahead. And for others sticking around, we anticipate that it'll just be like the random chance that somebody gets on between now and 5 o'clock. If you want to listen in, great. If you want to go, that's fine too. We don't have any more program. Thanks.
As we're coming into the last 5 minutes of the scheduled time for the hearing, I just wanted to remind everybody if they wanted to provide any further comments, you're welcome to type anything in the chat or raise your hand, and we're still accepting comments till 5 o'clock today.
I see Lorraine just put in a comment. Lorraine, I might just pull you off mute and then you could just talk to us if you want. Why not? Give me just a sec to do that. But whether you don't have to talk if you don't want, but do you want to just say what you said, or I can say it, whatever floats your boat.
Yeah, there's been some news articles recently about 3D printed homes. There's a neighborhood that has been, imagined, and the property's been purchased, and it's, I guess, going to come to fruition, but it will take about a year. And so for the people that are going to be moving on to those homes, they're not going to own the land. They'll just own the homes, and then they'll be making payments on the mortgage for those homes. And so it'd be nice to be able to say, oh, hey, 3D printed cement home, that's not flammable, and that's, well insulated. So yes, you qualify. And to be able to know that the grant will still be around for those individuals. I mean, hopefully, but yeah, that's just one thing I'm throwing out there, because I've heard a lot of interest in this neighborhood, but a lot of the things that have the recovery that's trying to happen has been very slow for many of the parks. And so even returning to the park that I was at is not possible, because no one's able to return until the infrastructure is redone. So to try to imagine and keep the hope alive for imagining alternatives is really important right now, I think, for the valley's recovery, to kind of, keep the faith, okay, there's other options. We can start to look at alternatives and apply the patches, the grant patches, so to speak, to try to help solve these problems.
Great, thank you for sharing. And also 3D printed homes. Wow, I still haven't been able to wrap my head around 3D printing, but okay, homes, great.
Yeah, I guess it's just the walls that are going to be printed. The roof and the foundation still is not, it's going to be, I guess, traditional.
Okay, fascinating. I'll have to follow that for our own learning, but also in the context of this program.
I have a friend that's trying to get on right now, but she's having trouble getting on via phone.
Oh, right. Yeah. Do you want, what we could do is maybe I'm trying to think of how to do this. You could send me her number or something, and we could maybe have James call her. Does that seem like a reason? Is that allowed, James? I don't know how else. We're getting ready to close the public hearing, and then maybe that would be around.
Possible to have her submit some written comments through the portal. I think that would, if she's able to, that would possibly be the best way.
Okay. You're saying that I could type up some comments from her. Is that right now on this chat? Is that what you're saying?
On the chat, or submit. I think submitting through the comment portal, or sending them an email would be kind of ideal.
Lorraine, I'm gonna put this link in the chat. That's what he's talking about, the portal. I realize that's kind of a fancy word for this, but it's just like a form that you can fill out just to provide comment. And that way it's public and we have it recorded properly. Is it not okay for us to accept a phone call to get comment?
No, like I can give you her number. I just I can do that privately. Is that all right?
Yeah, I'm just trying. I'm asking James because like there's rules about public hearings.
Yeah, we've have specified how we would accept public comment for everybody. So we want to make sure it's consistent for how we for everybody that wants to comment. So we've kind of set up a few lines of communication through comment portal, email, mail, and it's easier. It's enables us to keep up a better public record by having a public listening session, a public hearing like this, where we can collect all everybody's comments in one go, and then all accept written comment through the email or mail or portal. So if they're able to submit any comments in any of those ways, that would be really appreciated.
Okay. Okay, well, it looks like it's after 5 o'clock, so I will get her that email address.
Yeah, thank you. I'm sorry. I wish we could just call her, but
No
can't,
problem.
so. Okay.
Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much for your time, Lorraine. I appreciate you.
Yep.
Thanks. Okay, thank you, everybody. Before we, well, so that brings us to the conclusion of our hearing, actually. The time is 5:02. Thank you for coming and providing comments, and this concludes the public hearing. So thank you, everybody.